Most language learners stay at a beginner level for years and never really manage to understand native speakers. And in this video, I'll show you how to fix that, how to learn a lot of vocabulary fast using YouTube and ChatGPT to be able to understand interesting content as soon as possible. I'm talking about content by native speakers for native speakers about topics you're interested in, the kind of stuff you would watch or listen to in your native language. None of that comprehensible input for beginners nonsense. This is for real content about interesting topics, right? So the first thing you'll need is to go to ChatGPT and use this prompt. So I'm an advanced learner of language. So you, let's say Polish. I think I already have. Yeah, I already have a script there. I'll paste a paste the transcript in Polish. Your job: extract compact vocabulary list for comprehension, not islands or phrasebook stuff, because otherwise it does other things that are specifically for speaking practice that I've trained it to do. This is for vocabulary, right? Speaking and understanding are different skills. This particular video is about comprehension. If you want speaking videos, go watch the language island stuff. This will boost your comprehension. Okay, focus on less common or higher value words. So this assumes that you already understand, maybe not understand a lot, but you know quite a lot of common words. All right. So the most common 500 or 1,000 words, you should already know them. The most common verbs, the most common adjectives, nouns. You should learn those first. So we'll focus on the advanced stuff or intermediate to advanced stuff here. Uh, Important, skip very common basic words because those you'll know them already if you've been learning the language. Names, obvious cognates, yeah, like things that sound the same as in English. No point in learning them. And yeah, group the output in two parts: key vocabulary and then useful expressions, chunks. This is also really useful. And by the way, we're going to do this before listening to or watching the content. I recommend only listening instead of watching, because you can listen to it while doing other things, but you can't watch it while doing other things. And I recommend doing it with long form content. It'll be much better for your attention span if you use podcasts or videos that are at least half an hour, ideally 45 minutes or longer. All right. So, and then here's the text, and you paste the particular transcript here. This is a YouTube transcript. So you go to the video, you copy the transcript. There's a transcript button in the description. You get the transcript. And here we go. And this is Polish, by the way. I mean, I guess you already guessed it's from what I. Okay. And I was thinking. Let's see what it does. But by the way, this is a World War II podcast. And here we go with the vocab. And a lot of this will be words that you already recognize, but it'll be good to review them. Okay, so sztukarz, yeah, dive bombers, tajemnica sukcesu, odcinek. Yeah. So now you should review it. And every time there's a word there that you don't know, you use mnemonic association. Right? So nalot is air raid, apparently. I didn't know that. So you visualize an air raid. So a city being bombed or something, and something that sounds like this. I hope it doesn't get demonetized because I just said that anyway. Nalot. Uh, can think of the biblical characters Noah and Lot and Arad. Wasn't Lot the guy from Sodom? Maybe. No, definitely. This is getting demonetized. I mean, I don't know. No, my videos don't get demonetized normally. Uh, but yeah, visualize the characters, visualize an Arad, make up a story, see it. Next, yes, pretty dark stuff here. Spalenia is burning. So Spal Lenny from the Simpsons burning in a spa. And well, I won't do it with the whole thing, but basically that's what you need to do with, if not all of them, with a lot of like heavy artillery. Okay, yeah, it's easy. This is a cognate, and this is, if you know already what heavy and light are those words that come up all the time. Yeah, you go through the vocab, create associations for some of them if you don't want to do it for the whole thing, or just review it, because the simple act of reviewing it, okay, this is what it means. The simple act of reviewing the words and looking at the meaning of all the vocab right before listening to it will help you understand way more when you're listening to it, and you'll also review them right after you just looked up the meaning, and now you are hearing them in context again. So you're much more likely to remember it, especially if you listen to the same episode tomorrow or in a couple of days. That's spaced repetition. And then here comes the second part, the useful expressions chunks. So not everything will be really useful, uh, but there'll be a lot of useful expressions here, and really depends on the context as well. Like, of course, in a World War II podcast, you won't have that many useful expressions for daily conversation. But if you review this, it'll be much easier to then understand what you're listening to. And then the next episode, it'll probably repeat some of this. So it'll be much easier to understand that. And this is how you understand difficult, advanced content, which is way more interesting than beginner videos. And the same for books, by the way. You could do this with book pages. Not with entire books, I wouldn't do that. But you could do it. You could do it with each page at first, individual page, and then slowly do it less and less. Because once you've done this with several episodes of the same podcast, it'll be much easier to understand the podcast. And then you just keep listening to them, and you'll have to do this less and less. And eventually you'll understand it, no problem. When it comes to comprehension, you can have two problems. You can have a vocabulary problem, which is something that almost everyone has, unless it's a very easy language that's very similar to yours. Or you have a pronunciation problem, or both. Maybe you know the words, but you don't recognize them when you hear them. If that's the case, that's the problem, is pronunciation. So you need to listen to the same stuff several times after reading. Ideally, reading the whole transcript as well, but that's time consuming. But you can go through the vocab like this first and all the expressions, and it'll be much easier to then understand it. And once you're able to understand actually interesting content, not some childish dumbed down stories for beginners, no. Content you'd listen to in your, like, I'd listen to this kind of stuff in Spanish or in English or any other language that I speak. So this is actually really interesting. So then you can listen to it all day, and eventually it just becomes like second nature. You understand it without even having to pay attention. It's like you're listening to your native language.